Hello everyone, welcome back to Momentum Podcast. Let's get started again. This is another solo one, and in solo one, I basically discuss your questions one by one. There are so many questions that needs to be discussed. I think the best way to discuss all of them is just one by one discuss them straight up in a podcast like this. Now, a lot of times Momentum Podcast has guests, but for the last 10 to 20 episodes, I have started doing solo ones as well just to address the questions of the crowd. Now, another thing that you might notice, apart from my hair getting super short, now I decided to cut it out because summer is coming and definitely can't handle that much hair with this much amount of heat. So, temperature getting hotter and hotter every day, just like this channel, just like the host of this channel. And we have to adapt. That's what humans do. But what I was getting at is one thing that you might have noticed is that this has an ARP number. So we generally run 4 different podcasts. So one goes by this Momentum Podcast, which is definitely the oldest. I started it originally in 2019, but mainly picked its space in 2020. The other one is Spacecast, which is on space science and technology, highly technical. The third one is Talk and Fire Podcast. And the fourth one, I reiterate myself that one was actually the first one. It started with the name of Talk Vlogs. Now we are changing the name and we are going to call it Talk Talks. Actually, there was a podcast called Talk Talks as well where I used to talk about martial arts, but then I thought that is too many. So just coincide Talk Vlogs and Talk Talks, and we are going to now call it Talk Talks. But in total, I've made actually more than 100 podcasts. But still, if you look at Momentum Podcast, it was close to like 45. Talk and Fire Podcast, close to 40. Spacecast, 11 or 12. So they are going to continue to have their own independent numbers, but I want to combine it under the name of Ashish Ranjan Podcast, ARP. Simple as that. And the major reason for that is that in the audio platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, you are going to get only one single platform, right? Now, if you don't want to complicate it. And over there, it was called Ashish Ranjan Podcast Forever. And thus, I want to just bring the podcast together. 3 of it is anyways hosted by me only. The 4th one is hosted by me or co-hosted by me, mainly hosted by Komal. You might check it out. It's actually pretty good. But anyways, I have like a bunch of topics that I would like to discuss. Let's see how far we are going to get, because I like to discuss topics in huge amount of detail. So I want to discuss about career decisions, life struggles. I want to touch into relationship because it has been a while. Last time I discussed about relationship was probably independently 3 years ago or so. I want to talk about students or people struggling, how they deal with festivals. I have actually got a board in front of me, so maybe I'm going to share a screenshot of how it actually goes. Everything goes in here, like the planning thing, the weekly planning, the daily planning goes over here, and maybe I'm going to give you a look. Now, I also want to talk about this whole thing going on for the last 5 to 10 years of topper interviews on YouTube. How good is it and how much it is going to help and how you should take it so that it is positive for you, and a couple of more things. Also, just before starting the podcast, I had also dropped a community post that, hey, I'm going to do a solo podcast. So if you have some questions, please put it out here, and I'm going to take a couple of questions from there as well, the good ones. All right, so let's begin. Well, I woke up super early today. I woke up at 5 a.m. That's because I slept at 9 p.m. itself last night. Now, I preach all the time that waking up early is always the better thing to do. And there's no scenario in which waking up late is going to be much better than waking up early. Although a lot of artists claim that the night gives me silence and I get time alone to think a lot, which is correct as well. Like when I write, I prefer to write at night also, but same silence is also present early in the morning. Like today I woke up at 5 o'clock, and from 5 to 8, 3 hours, I continuously spent time writing. and there was absolutely no noise. It is a completely silent time of the day, right? And staying awake at night, a lot of people will argue it is better. The only reason would be that it is just easier. It is much easy to stay awake than to wake up early in the morning. And right now, if you want to know when I'm recording at 10:50. So I've had my dinner. I'm going to record it for, let us say, 1 hour, and then I'm going to directly go to sleep and aim to wake up at least like 7 o'clock in the morning. But last night was different. Like, I slept somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock and then woke up automatically without any alarm. Like 5 o'clock. It reminded me that it really does have humongous amount of benefit. And since summer is turning around, I think it would be easy for a lot of you guys to wake up earlier. So for a long time, close to 1 year, I lived in a place called Kalpakkam. Now, Kalpakkam, if you do not know, is close to 200 kilometers from Chennai. I'm not sure, but at that time I used to know. Now it is on the coast, that is east coast of India, and southern part in the state of Tamil Nadu. So it's pretty hot over there. And it was so hot. Obviously, we did not have any air conditioners or even like coolers. Now I think about it and my head blows that why didn't we at least have coolers, but we did not. And the summer was so hot over there that every morning I used to wake with with my bed wet, not with my piss, but with my sweat every morning. And I'm pretty sure that it used to happen to almost everyone over there. It was that hot over there. But the easiest thing over there, was to wake up, because it is easy to wake up in summer. Winter, it is difficult. You're a hero. You should enroll yourself as a superhero if you're able to wake up automatically on your own 5 a.m. every morning in winters, let us say Delhi winters or Sikkim winters. But summer, it would be much easier. And since summer is right around the corner, and places like Delhi, it is on your gate right now, knocking on your head. So those places, I think that you should start building a habit of waking up early. And why it is always beneficial is that, number one, it builds a routine that is healthy. Now, I've talked a lot about circadian rhythm and how sleep actually works. Like, it is not an on and off switch that at any point I turn the sleep on and my cycles will go for the next 8 hours. If you go to sleep somewhere around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, it is going to directly jump you into that deep sleep. And it is not the most healthy way to sleep, because your sleep cycle is highly impacted by sunlight itself. So when we were developing genetically, or the way that we developed or evolved, we have evolved for the past 10,000 years. But right now, the latest technology of electricity and having light late at night has been like 200 years old, right? In India, I would say like majority of the places like less than 100 years old. So we are not really trained for that. We have not evolved like that. So our brain or our body naturally wants to be sleeping when it is dark and wants to be awake when it is bright outside, because our whole body is dependent on sunlight. Everything on earth is dependent on the very source of every life on earth, that is sun. So naturally, your daily cycle or routine is highly dependent on sun. Okay, sorry about that, but I have to keep my phone on because I might get some important messages or calls. Coming back to the point. So elaborated it even in a better manner in that whole podcast dedicated to sleep. You can go through it, but for those reasons, waking up early is always going to be advantageous. Not only that, working out in the morning is always better than working out in the evening if you're into workouts and all, especially if you are trying to lose some weight, because early morning is the best time for cardio. And the worst part about working out at night time or evening time, a lot of people have seen, like when I was in Bangalore, there was a gym which used to be open 24 hours, at least till the lockdown and all started. But that gym was open 24 hours. And even after the lockdown, it was open till 11 o'clock. And there were boys lifting weights over there a lot of times, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. A lot of times I was among those. So that's not the best thing to do, because when you are working out, right after that, your body sends a signal to your brain, which the body does not properly understand. But the signal is a fight or flight signal. Like, you are putting extreme amounts of load on your body, and the brain thinks that you're in a fight or flight situation, like a tiger is chasing you or something. So it naturally wants to stay awake. You would hate it if your brain falls asleep when a tiger is chasing you, or at least 1 hour or 2 hours after, because the threat is there. So that is how human beings evolve. You need to understand these things to understand why it is so important to wake up early in the morning. So I've always preached about it. Go to my oldest videos, and I'm not talking without experience. I started waking up early in the morning in 2012 when I got into college. Before that, I used to stay awake till 4 o'clock in the morning, but I had to change because I knew these benefits because of the science behind it. So I started to change it, and for straight up 4 years in my college, I always used to wake up 5:30 in the morning. And after that, during my Delhi days, obviously classes used to start at 8 o'clock, which means that 7 o'clock you have to be at the gate. Maybe a story for some other day. Online students maybe will not understand how things were back then. So 7 o'clock you have to be over there. So at least 6 o'clock you have to wake up to properly have a bath or things like that. So if you want to study as well, I have woken up as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, but always used to at least wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. So there goes 5 years of experience of waking up early in the morning. And after that, I went into BARC, and all that happened is continuation of preparation for my next examination, that was ISRO, and I continued the same routine, and I even added gym early in the morning, which I did not in Delhi till February. And after February, I joined a gym in Delhi as well, which helped me a lot. So maybe we can discuss later how to balance gym, workout, and studies along with your, let us say, job or higher studies, if you want to balance all of those. Because one day I got a telephonic consultancy call where a guy was asking about these things, and I thought that I have not really talked about this that well. There are a few videos that I've made on fitness over there. I've talked about how you should focus more on maintenance and not on growth when you're having some examination coming up. Maybe you can check it out. But the point is that in that time also, I was waking up early in the morning. So, and after that, I joined ISRO. And in ISRO also, I continued the same routine, because in ISRO, a lot of times what you faced was overtime. So all of a sudden, 5 o'clock, you'll find out that you have to stay till 8 o'clock. And it was not certain at all. So if you plan on going to the gym late at night, that means that sometimes you will be able to do it and sometimes you won't be able to do it. And me and my friend, two of us were very consistent. There were a lot of people who used to jump in, all of a sudden 2 days later jumped out, then again they are again motivated because maybe they watched some Arnold Schwarzenegger video and they again walk out. So yo-yo effect, I've talked about this before also. Much worse than not joining gym at all. So we two of us always used to go early in the morning, only 6 o'clock, go to the gym, by 8 o'clock be back, and then go to work. Although I was not preparing for any examination, but so what I'm trying to say is that I've followed this routine for the past 8 to 10 years. And after I left ISRO, then I had everything under my control. Like, I can wake up when I want, I can go to sleep when I want, and I can plan what I have to do. I don't have to report at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to shut down my work 5 o'clock in the evening. I control everything, and I enjoyed it a lot. But with that, a lot of times what happened is that I found myself working late at night, because like I said, my writing and all generally started late at night. I'm working on a book currently, so maybe I'll explain later. But I've been writing that for the last 4 years now. Yeah, very, very close to 4 years. And writing is a tough business, man. People who have not thought about it, well, writing is so difficult, especially if you are doing it for the first time, because you have to do it again and again and again. Like the whole book, you have to do it again. First draft, the second draft, the third draft, the fourth draft, the fifth draft. Because when the reader gets it, they get it like a whole package and they read it from first page to last page, maybe in 1 week or 1 month or so. But you write the book in a flow of, let us say, 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, especially if it is your first book. And a lot of times you have to reiterate, make the change. So it's a difficult process. So I was pretty young at writing at that time. So I started doing it whenever I felt like doing it. And a lot of times I was writing late. A lot of times there was some sponsored video that I had to complete on time, on deadline. So I had to stay awake late. And then it was completely like on and off. Sometimes I'm waking up early. Sometimes I'm staying awake late. And sometimes I'm not sleeping at all. I'm sleeping 8 o'clock in the morning. So the whole habit changed, although I did not compromise with my diet. I did not compromise with my workout. I did not compromise with my work itself. I did not compromise with my passion, but it was not the best thing to do. So this is like 2020, especially when the COVID just hit us all. And I think that almost all of us can say that we lost our routine when the first lockdowns came. And then I thought that this is not the best thing to do. And over time, I started moderating. It was difficult at times because, like I said, sometimes my work just demands it to be done. For example, if a podcast is to be coming out on Sunday, it has to come out on Sunday. And if you're too late and you did not manage, a lot of times this happened with Talk and Fire podcast, because we are still very regular with TNF. So it has to come on Sunday. It will come on Sunday. So hook or by crook, it is going to come out, because Komal, social media wise, that is the only thing that she does, bring podcasts. So it has to be super regular for her. So it was pretty difficult. But lately, at least for the past 3 months or so, I've been super in regular routine, at least like waking up 7 o'clock in the morning. And today when I woke up at 5 o'clock, I was thinking that I cannot believe that I did not do it. I think that in 3 years of my time, if I did not wake up on time, versus if I wake up on time or early in the morning, I think that 3 years can be converted into 3.5 years of work, or you almost lost half a year of work if you were not regular in waking up early in the morning. Or at least that's what works for me. A lot of people like to argue that different people have different kind of working. My body works like this. I'm better at night. I'm more efficient at night. I really don't buy it, because like I said, when you look at the genetics, it's almost the same for everyone. We all evolved in the same manner. It's not like your genes evolved in the 1600s with lights all around. We all evolved in the same manner. So how come your body is different? Now you can argue that maybe I was one of those watchmen guys who stays awake at night, nocturnal. It's very rare though. It's very less number of people. If I right now do a poll, how many of you guys think that you're more efficient late at night, like 2 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock at night? I'd say that somewhere around 99% will raise their hand because they want to believe that they are more efficient. And then I'll say that how many of you guys have actually tried waking up early in the morning for a long duration, let us say weeks, months, or sometimes even years, like I did? Then I don't think that even 1% will be able to raise their hands. If you have done it for a long stretch and still found no benefits, well, you have full right to stay awake late at night. But the main thing is that it is difficult. It is super difficult to wake up early in the morning. And like I said, that it comes with a cost. Your higher efficiency or better utilization of time, it comes with a cost. So it was not even topic of discussion for today, but I discussed it way too long. But yeah, that's what I want to say. And so from now on, I'm focusing on waking up early in the morning. Sometimes it is good, like artistically, sometimes it is good. Like you got inspired and you want to create art. that is when it is good to just stretch it longer and finish up whatever was going on in your mind. But most of you guys, when it comes to especially exam preparation or developing a career in a certain field, it is a thing of routine. And that is why I'm not super pissed on myself when I stopped waking up that early in the morning after quitting my job, because then it was more like an artistic venture, which is kind of sometimes justified when you're not sleeping like very early, like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, right? So, but still, even in that, I've found higher efficiency waking up early in the morning. But especially when you are preparing for some exam or you are in some academic course and you have to be in class at certain time and your class is going to end at certain time, or there's some routine which is only moderated by external sources, I believe that it is always going to be much more helpful to wake up on time. That's what I wanted to say. Now, a lot of you guys just can't wake up early in the morning, not because you have not tried, but because of external circumstances, like your family being too noisy and annoying. So throughout the day it is noisy, and late at night you will have to study. That's the only time that you're getting peace. Now, unless your family wakes up at 4 o'clock and starts shouting, well, I would say that you can try once waking up early in the morning instead of staying awake late at night. That is obviously better because of the reasons that I've already talked about. Now, none of it, whatever I've discussed right now, is repeated from what I talked in the sleep podcast, but I believe that this is something that you found extremely helpful. Now, you can put your questions or whatever your doubts are down in the comment section. I mostly speak by experience, which is backed up by science, and also not only my experience, but experience of the people who have followed it. Now, it really blows my mind when I go to a seminar that I've conducted or I do a live session, and so many of followers of this channel ultimately ended up adopting this waking up early in the morning. So when I made those videos, like I think that was called How I Became a Scientist, which went pretty popular. It was a part of my second Chennai seminar. So the people who watched that and actually adopted it in their life, it is really remarkable, because I did not expect that many people to follow it, because I know how difficult it is, but huge amount of population actually adopted it. I know this because when I do art of speaking, and most of the people who join art of speaking are like hardcore long time follower of this channel, only then they will be able to trust me to spend like 4,000 rupees for a month. So those people, whenever I ask, a lot of them has adopted waking up early in the morning because they went through my videos, which is great. I cannot take any credits, but I'm super happy. Maybe you are going to do it too, but it really helps. Okay, now, other than that, pay attention at diet. I'm going to make a separate video on that because there are points that I want to discuss and I do not want to discuss it right now, but we can move on to the next one. Okay, let's talk about topper interviews. All right, now I know a lot of them are going to pop up very soon. I know that a lot of them has even popped up the moment GATE result came out, and they are going to continue to do that for the rest of the year, and then they are going to repeat the cycle again. Okay, mainly the coaching institutes are going to do this. This is a very old marketing strategy. Even when the YouTube was not that popular, you would see coaching institutes putting banners of toppers. Not only the thing that goes on for GATE examination, goes on for every examination, goes on for IIT examination, NEET examination, any examination that exists. All right, coaching institutes are going to use this as a marketing stunt. Now, posters are all well and good, but obviously now with the YouTube platform, and especially videos, uploading videos are free. So the better way to do it would be to bring the topper itself and interview him or her. See, number one problem is that I'm culprit of that. not only I have been interviewed as a topper, I have brought a lot of toppers on my podcast, which you might have already seen. More likely than the people that I've brought on my platform who maybe never ever cracked any examination or performed horribly in examinations like gate examination. There are a lot of people I've brought on my platform who did not crack any examination, did not perform that well, but still made a good career. That is important to me. Like, you make a good career and share your experience over here on Momentum Podcast. Like, every year I know a lot of toppers. They come to me, thank me themselves, and tell me that they have performed very well in this examination. I never bring them on right away because obviously I know that that will get a lot of views. But I also know, personally, I feel that that is not the best thing to do. See, if a person has done something and wants to share his or her experiences, wants to be on the podcast, I'll definitely bring him or her on. No problem with that. But just hunting for toppers to bring on my platform and put like, yeah, this, not the correct thing to do, I feel. And if you think that the toppers that have been on my platform, I scouted them and went to them and brought them on my platform, it's not true. Each and every topper that has been on my platform, they approached me and they let me know that they want to share their experience, apart from Gaurav Joshi, because Gaurav Joshi is like my friend. Okay, so I said that, bro, you want to come? And he said, yeah, sure. And he is over here. But rest all who I did not know before, they approached me, let me know that they want to be on the platform. That's how they came over here. But completely banning toppers is also wrong, because obviously they have a lot of things to share which will help others. So you need to go through topper interviews, but in a correct manner. That is what is important over here. You have to be very logical and pragmatic over here. Understand the reality. First of all, you have to be smart enough to understand the whole propaganda and marketing scheme. That's the first thing, because you know there are legit businesses making a lot of money out of these toppers just by using their name. And sometimes I feel that it is so easy for coaching institutes to get these toppers to get interviewed, because I've felt it myself. Like, toppers themselves are so eager for the limelight. They want to be interviewed. A lot of times I've seen this. Now, obviously, this might not be true for every topper, but from the past years, when I see that toppers are coming to me and they said that I want to be on their platform, to some extent, I know that they want to share experience, but I know that to a huge extent, they just want the fame. That is also true, because a lot of times since the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen that same topper not only approaching me, but approaching like 5 to 10 different platforms, all right, that interview me, which again, see, here's the thing about the fame that comes, and you have to listen to me for quite some time. You can't just watch a 5-minute part of this video and then just make your judgment, but I'm trying to clarify myself. So there's a kind of fame that comes to the topper after you have qualified some examination with a big rank, right? For example, my video in which I was interviewed by interviewer of Unacademy, which came on Chamomile Tea with Topper, got somewhere like 7 lakh views. Okay, that is insane. For what? For cracking an examination and getting a job of your interest. So that is obviously kind of like a fame. I have found myself being on the street and people recognizing me. I've been in Starbucks and the barista actually knows who I am. Does not happen every time, but sometimes it has happened, more than I can count. So obviously that is a tint of fame, and that has happened over years. And a lot of toppers maybe are looking for that fame as well. Now, it is completely your choice, but being interviewed is not the best way to gain fame, because it is very temporary. And there's a very simple explanation of why it is temporary. For example, I was All India rank 4 in Indian Space Research Organization 2018. There were rank 4s and rank 1s, rank 2s and rank 3s and rank 5s and rank 10s. In previous years as well, ISRO has been conducting its examination since 2006. And I was not the only one getting interviewed. You know that. You search for it, you'll find a lot of topper interviews. But ultimately, their name got lost, which is not wrong. Maybe they were not hunting for it. But if you just are looking for fame through the topper position, then that is wrong. And then you need to look at that this is not the way to earn fame either. So your pursuit, which is obviously extremely difficult, might also not give you what you're looking for. So the reason why a lot of them are forgotten is because next year, next topper, next year, 100 more, next year, 100 more, 10 in every stream. So how can this ever be permanent? And the same coaching institute next year is going to interview some other topper. Next year is going to interview some other topper, right? So I know that it is important to discuss it over here, because I know that a lot of people, while writing that exam or preparing for that exam, want that topper spot just for the spotlight. It is going to be over there, especially if you're like rank 1 or under 10 and you have been interviewed. For a moment, it is definitely going to be over there. You're going to feel like you run the world. But it is going to wipe away over time, naturally, for the reasons that I've already talked about. So if you're preparing for that kind of fame, that's the wrong thing to do. And a lot of people over time I've seen them comparing with myself, that they say that Ashish, if you were not ISRO topper, or if you have not worked in BARC, then who would listen to you? Maybe nobody, but it does not matter to me. All right. Because see, if you're talking worth, then people are going to listen to you. Yes, in India, there's a different value of brands and tags and medals. There's no doubt in that. But there are a lot of YouTubers which are much bigger than me and does not have any of those brand and tags and medals. They're just there because of their talents, their speaking skills, or their art. They're just over there to display it. But more importantly, I want to say over here that why would you compare yourself to me? Because you can only compare yourself with me if you want the exact career trajectory as me. Otherwise, why would you do that? Because if being a topper makes someone be me, then how come there are so many toppers and there's only one Talk 4712? How is that possible? See, I am a humble guy and I'm never going to brag, but these things are to be brought to your attention if you are going to think about things logically. These examinations are just a way to get an education or a job. Fame should not have ever been attached to it. And let's be honest, the only reason that fame is attached to it are because of the coaching institutes. You know how I know this? Because all you need to do is look for the same job posts, but there's no coaching industry around that. Now, physics and chemistry would not be the best example for that, but you know that coaching institute industry is a little bit mild in that domain, right? Physics and chemistry people also get BARC jobs. They also become ISRO scientists, but nobody interviewed them, right? So even that like months of fame, that momentary fame that maybe mechanical engineer or electronics engineer would get after getting the same job, they would not get even that because there's no strong coaching institute around that. So the whole idea of toppers or fame attached to being a topper is because of the coaching institutes. Like I said, it is a marketing stunt. Now, with that said, now I'm going to talk about how you should look at it when you're looking at some toppers interview. See, number one thing that you need to understand is that a lot of toppers, huge majority of them, comes from a very brilliant academic background. The first thing that you need to look at is that how is that person in 11th and 12th standard? how is that person during graduation, um, which college did that person graduate from, and then you need to look at, with that perspective, what position he or she secured in the examination that you want to crack next. So a lot of people who have been brilliant students throughout their life, examinations are a little bit easier to them. I'm not saying that everything that they say is not going to be applicable to you. That is why I'm saying it's not like don't listen to them, but listen to them with a perspective. I know this because I did not used to do this back in 2013, 14, 15, 16. I understand this because I did not even know back then that it was a propaganda. And I just used to blindly follow toppers. And over time, unfortunately, a lot of students have come to me who have just told me that I blindly followed this topper and did not work out for me. I do not want that to happen to you. So whenever you look at an interview, you have to look at it with a perspective. First of all, filter the propaganda part, that it is run by a coaching institute to bring registration or enrollment to whatever course that they are running. Second of all, you have to look at it with a perspective. Obviously, you are going to look at a topper and find out what is similar in him or her as compared to me. Then what worked for that person in that regard might work for me as well. It might work for you as well. Ultimately, you'll have to go ahead and try and see if it works for you or not. Don't just blindly follow anyone. Now, fortunately, there are a lot of toppers who might not have that good academic career. By the way, if a person is a topper who had brilliant academic past and you are a person who have brilliant academic past, then you can relate to that person more. A lot of things that that person says is going to work for you. But if you're not, like I was not until 12th standard, so my physics and mathematics from the basics were super weak. So if I look to a person who graduated from some IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay and follow exactly what that person did, then it is kind of stupid to me. But I did that for a long time. So if you can find for you that a person who has not performed that well in senior secondary or college, and then that person cracked this examination, a lot of things will be similar to you, like 80% that might be applicable in your case as well. So it's all like scanning and screening process, and ultimately you'll have to find out what works for you and what does not work for you. This is how you're supposed to do it. But then again, like we humans, we always want an easy path. Like tell me what to do and I'll do it. But that's not really how it works, because competitive examinations itself are like an individualistic sport. So it is all dependent on you. You failed, it is your fault. You succeeded, it is all attributed to you. It's 100% your credit. You did everything that you're supposed to do and you got the results. So if it is that much of an individualistic sport, then obviously every step you have to decide before you take. How come someone else will be able to guide you step by step? I know this because of the kind of questions that I get a lot of times during the live sessions or in the comment sections. Like, tell me, like I got 50 marks in GATE examination. Should I appear in GATE next year or should I not? How can you even ask that simply? Because it is 1 year of your life. And will you really listen to me? Like, okay, give GATE again. And you say, okay, I'll give GATE again. That is not how it goes. If you do that, you should not appear in GATE examination, because that's not the level of aptitude you should be having to appear in an aptitude examination. But jokes aside, every step has to be analyzed very well. And that is why these questions I'll not be answering in the comment section. That is not how you answer that question. It is very limited information, and you should never just give someone a limited information and expect a good output out of it. Partial knowledge is dangerous, and the knowledge that partial knowledge creates, which you are going to observe, is like an atom bomb. Definitely stay away from that. Okay, but that is all that I wanted to say about the topper interviews. You should be careful about that. Okay, now I can say this because I have been in the delivering end of it and I have been in a receiving end of it, and I know that a lot of my friends have been on the both sides as well. And I know that heroification of toppers is wrong. Like, no topper is supposed to be looked at like a hero. What are you going to call the legends who served in Indian army? Are they hero too? How are you going to discriminate? Right. So I'm not a hero to get all India rank 4 in ISRO, and definitely none of the toppers are heroes. They did what was best to them for them, and they did it well. They did an amazing job. They made a good career, right? And ultimately they're going to have a good life, hopefully, in the future. And that's how you're supposed to look at it. Unfortunately, this idea is lost amongst all the propaganda and advertisement. I know a lot of people just want to get a top rank because they think that it will automatically change their life, having no idea what they want to do with their life, having no idea the kind of career that they want to lead because of this propaganda, because that is what is shoved down their throat all the time, 24/7. And god forbid, if you keep on watching toppers, all you are going to get on YouTube as a recommendation are topper interviews. That's all, day and night. So just be careful. That's all that I wanted to say. The next topic that I wanted to talk. All right. I also want to add that a lot of times it is not necessary that only the toppers are going to give you good advice. You should not completely reject the advices of people who are not like under 100 or under 50. Now, I still remember I was in BARC training school and one of my friends had a rank of 700. So he was giving me some suggestions related to how to prepare for ISRO examination, because last year he had cracked not ICRB mechanical but ICRB RAC. So I every now and then used to talk to him, and his advices were pretty legit. Like, when you apply it, it is going to work. So I was just joking around, like, even though you're not a topper, you give pretty good advices and it works. And he said that, yeah, sometimes you should not listen to toppers, and maybe people with backward or rear end ranks might give you a better suggestion. I immediately started laughing. I thought that he was joking, but he was not. He was actually serious. I looked at him again and he's like, I'm dead serious, bro. Why are you laughing? So that made me realize that, yeah, why do we actually always look at toppers for advices? A lot of times you can look at people who did not do that well in examination because they made a lot of mistakes, and maybe they know what mistakes they made, and maybe they can share a lot. I can share another experience like this. So somewhere around June 2017, it was time for us to leave our PGs. I was living in Delhi. So it was time for us to leave our PGs. I was going to go for BARC interview, and some of my friends were going to stay over there for another year. But at the same time, June, another batch starts. So the new fresh junior batches joined in, and you see these fresh chickens and they are just super hyped up that I'm going to crack this examination next year, which is great. Motivation is very important. But they always used to like look down upon us. Not just the feeling that we felt, but after talking to them, because a lot of them ended up staying in the same PG that we were about to leave. But they looked down upon us because we could not crack or make that well in that examination that they are about to try their best for. But we knew that 90 to 99% of the population over here are going to be just like us. And a lot of them are going to quit in the January part itself. And they are going to find it 1 year later. So instead of them looking down upon us, maybe they could have asked for some suggestions. Now, what are the mistakes that you made? Maybe we are not going to repeat again. But people generally don't do that. People just go for the topper. And like I said, a lot of times the topper itself is super gifted. So maybe it is not going to work for you, whatever that person is saying. And this is the thing, a lot of times toppers say that, yeah, I just studied whenever I could. Yeah, I just solved some questions. Yeah, I solved previous year questions. And yeah, I followed this material and it worked out for me. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that information? Should I just go ahead and study a little bit? So you should look at others as well. And I had a rank of 1825 in GATE examination in 2017, and my videos of guidance on how to prepare for GATE examination has got like lakhs and lakhs of views. My video or my channel, how much every month gets close to 1,000,000 views every month. So and it has created a lot of toppers. It has changed life of a lot of people. Again, not taking the credit at all. I'll never take a credit of a topper. It ultimately depends on what you do with that information. But a lot of that information does work, and you're listening to me right now for the past 50 minutes for that reason only, because a lot of the advices works. And because of that, a lot of the advices that comes out genuine, because a lot of people can relate to that. That is also very important. So definitely listen to toppers, but with a perspective and with an idea of the propaganda, and do not just straight away boycott the ideas that comes from someone who maybe have a little bit rear end rank. Sometimes they can also give a lot of advices. All right, as long as that person has created a good career, that is also important. For example, Anshuman Mehta, the best rank that he ever scored was 5,000, and his life is fine. He's doing great, better than most, I would say. And he's right now doing the research that he wants to. I brought him on the podcast multiple times. So why wouldn't you listen to that person? Because he has built a brilliant career. I brought Shivam on the podcast, and he said that he never filled the form of GATE examination because the filling form process itself is too lengthy for him. But he's doing fine. And he has a lot of things to share as well. So like I said, the whole propaganda has led you to believe the rank is everything, when it's not. I've seen a person with somewhere close to 30 rank in GATE 2018. All right. Now he got selected in IOCL. And after 6 months, I talked to him, and his position was miserable, like literally miserable. He was frustrated with the kind of work over there. He was frustrated with the placement. I do not know how well it is going right now. Hopefully he has found a way. But bringing a very good rank does not make sure that you are going to lead a great career. Obviously, there would be multiple more examples of people who got good rank and led a great career afterwards. But there are also a lot of examples of a lot of people who did not get that good rank and led a great career. So this is what you need to understand. Are you here for a rank, for fame? Because I told you that is not going to work out. So ultimately, what do you want? You want a good life. You want a great career. Like the tag of this podcast, enhance your career. So if you're looking for that, then you should listen to people who have built a great career. All right. That's all that I'm saying over here. Okay. Now I had multiple topics to talk about, but time is running out, and I'm going to discuss few of the questions that I got on the community post that I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to discuss few of them. Obviously not all, but over time I'm going to discuss all. If it is a pressing issue, I'm going to discuss it right now. Okay, this question is a good one, so we are going to discuss this. Ashish sir, I am an ardent follower of you, sir. I got rank of AI 2000. All right, too many sirs, but we'll survive. 2021 computer science stream, and then I got a state government job in Andhra Pradesh. Then even though I have applied for GATE 2022, I did not attempt it seriously because I thought that my present job is safe job, but I'm interested in computer science research. I want to definitely crack GATE 2023. My question is, what steps can I take to come out of the comfort zone or having a salaried government job? How do you tackle with comfort zone? How do I work rigorously while getting out of the comfort zone? Okay, this is a good question. There are few set of things that I always used to follow while I was in college, or when I was in Delhi, when I was at BARC training school, or when I was at ISRO. And even after I left ISRO, the things that I always follow, because as humans, it is super easy to become comfortable. That's all that we hunt for, and once we get it, we are never satisfied. We want to get more and more comfortable. It's never ending. All right. So I'm going to share a few things that I've never actually shared so far, but lived by it every day. So what are they? Number one, never fall in love with the place that you want to leave. Now, this is something that I've seen over and over and over again. People get too comfortable. Like, you are going to buy a comfortable bed. You are going to make a lot of friends around. You're going to find ways to spend your time with your friends. You're going to try your best to have a good time. You are going to maybe play sports with them. You are going to find the best places to eat over there. When you start having money, or maybe more and more money, you start buying stuff like vehicles, houses, better place to live. You are trying to make your situation super comfortable. Like, you want to live a good life. I've seen this, like people who want to leave a particular job has spent lakhs of rupees in their houses and their rooms to make it comfortable. Now, I'll explain it with an example. Let us say you fall asleep in two different scenarios. Number one, it is super hot, 40 degrees outside, and you're sleeping on floor, like straight up, the marble of the floor, you're sleeping on it. Not even a fan is spinning to cool you down. And it is middle of the day, 3 o'clock, super hot. You're sleeping over there. Now compare this with you are sleeping in a well-cushioned mattress. The room is air conditioned. The light is just appropriate for you to fall asleep. In which one do you think you're going to sleep longer? On the floor, you're maybe going to wake up in half an hour. On that bed, maybe 8 hours, as long as it takes for you to be rejuvenated mentally and physically. A similar thing happens when you start adding on the comfort in the place where you're living right now. I'm going to start explaining from my college life itself. And I have people who can back this up. All you have to do is go and talk to my roommates at that particular time. From first year to the fourth year, if you ever walk into my room was having two people in same room. My college, Sikkim Manipal Institute of Technology, this is the kind of hostel that we used to have, 2 people, single room. So if you enter a room, you're going to find 2 beds. One bed, you're going to find a bed sheet on that. There will be a pillow on that. There will be a table beside that where you'll find a couple of books, pens, clothes lying around, like things you will not normally find in a person's room. The other side of the bed, you'll find no bed sheet. The table is completely empty. There may be a couple of scribblings on the wall, written down few things, and that's it. You'll almost come to a conclusion that this room has only one person living in it, and the second person, maybe nobody has been allocated over there. That's how my room used to be. Because the entire day I used to spend in library, and late at night, somewhere around 10 o'clock after dinner, I used to come over there, spread the bed sheet, never used to have pillow as well, and I used to go to sleep. Wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, I used to go out running, and that's how it used to be. I'll share a lot of other examples. Same goes with the way that I lived in Delhi. The things that I always had were only the things that I needed, nothing else. You might not believe, but till this day, I don't sleep on bed. This is what I sleep on. This is a foldable mattress. It acts like a acoustic sound panel when I'm recording, and it acts like a bed when I'm sleeping. That's what I do, because I don't need more than this. I need a lot of things. Like, this costs 300-400 rupees. This camera cost 80,000 rupees. This mic costs 10,000 rupees. This laptop in front of me costs 1 lakh rupees. I invest money where I need to, not where I just need it for comfort. Got it? This is the way you stay out of the comfort zone. You stay on your toes. You keep working towards whatever you want. I've seen people in ISRO, I know that they have some other goals. They want to leave it over time. And then at the same time, I'm seeing that they're using the government job benefits to take loans to buy bikes, maybe to buy houses, to buy land. Like half of them is like, I want to leave, and half of it is like, maybe I like it. So you have to stay on the toes. You can't get comfortable. You can't fall in love with the place that you want to leave, because if you're going to leave, it is going to hurt if you have fallen in love with that. So if you're going to leave anyways, you should not care. I have stayed isolated in most of the places that I've lived in, because I know that I want to leave this place over time. So that is how you stay out of the comfort zone. And obviously, it is difficult. There's no doubt, but it works. Now, a lot of people will say that some of life is supposed to be fun as well. Well, then you chose a path you're not having fun in. What I'm talking about is a path which you enjoy. For example, I enjoy making videos. So for that, I do not need a bed. Obviously, I do not need a super comfortable house. I do not need a very expensive one. I definitely do not need an expensive car, although I can afford it. It's not useful to me. What I enjoy does not involve money, and where it involves money, like I said, I've invested it. So if you do not have any such thing which you enjoy, then you are asking the wrong question. First, you have to ask that question, that what you want to do, for which you want to leave the comfort zone. If you have nothing, you will always spiral into building more and more comfort. That's the human nature. We want to stay safe. We want to stay cozy. And that's how it is going to go. But if you have something that you want to work towards, then that thing that you want to work towards should be something that brings fun in itself. I think that's all that I can say related to this one. Can I go through some of the other questions over here? Let's see. Sir, what is your opinion on IITians preparing for GATE? Well, they are going to have an easy time compared to what you are having if you are a non-IITian, definitely. I've said this before as well. The entire engineering is majorly an expansion of your 11th and 12th itself. So if your 11th and 12th is amazing, which you have to have if you have to get into IITs, then your engineering is going to be easy. And GATE examination is nothing but test of your basic engineering knowledge. So that comes easy. So they are going to have an easier time. There's no doubt. Nobody can contradict me when I say that IITians are going to have an easier time preparing for GATE examination to, let us say, get the same rank as compared to someone who's a non-IITian. Now, if you're saying that I am an IITian and for 4 years I completely flunked my classes and my CGPA is somewhere around 6, well, that's a different deal. Okay, so for 4 years you did not study. Well, you compare two people, one from IIT, one from an average college. 4 years the IITian completely wasted his time or her time, and 4 years someone from a private college which does not even have a placement invested huge amount of time in learning and growing. Obviously this person is going to rise farther and faster, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have studied almost at the same level throughout their 4 years. IITians are always going to have an easier time. Not only that their 11th and 12th are strong, but their basic graduation itself is much better. The professors that are teaching them, the kind of examinations that they are appearing in are much better. So yeah, but then again, if you have to climb Mount Everest, if you are at Nepal, then obviously you are going to directly climb. But if you are in Tamil Nadu, your first job is to get to Nepal, and then you're going to climb the Mount Everest. Does not mean that you can't climb it. It's just that it is going to take more effort. Now that's about it, guys. I think that this is more than sufficient. There's like 90% of the question that I wanted to discuss over here, I could not discuss because time is limited. But I'll make sure that I'm going to discuss it in the upcoming podcast. Speaking of podcasts, check out our other podcast, Spacecast, Talking Fire podcast, Talk Talks coming up soon. Every week there's one or more podcast coming up. You can listen to our podcast on the audio platforms as well, like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. All are available under the name Ashish Ranjan Podcast. If you have further questions goes down in the comment section, and show your support, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, because we share authentic quality information on a regular basis. This is a real place to enhance your career, and I believe that you need a podcast like this to get some regular ideas and boosts. That's about it, guys. See you next time. Till then, bye.